What's up, Knights? Xantos here, and welcome to Atlantica. Thanks for rocking with us still. In today's video, we'll be taking on one of the smaller citadels so that we can take a closer look at the new troll enemies in Atlantica, the Brinehide. The raiders of this infantry have a power that charges relatively quickly, Acidic Edge. This is going to hit you for upwards of 160k damage and tick for 72k acid damage for 3 turns. The Harriers are their archers with a power that can hit for 89k damage and ignores armor. And next up we have their tanks, the Brinehide Hulks. These guys have a slow charging power that has the ability to stun you if they get it off. Lastly, we have their healers, the Soothsayers. These guys are going to sit in the back row and try to heal their friends up with their power, Cleansing Waters, that can restore up to 150k health. In our first example here, we'll be bringing along Tristan for his ability to cleanse, as well as granting us Protect for 3 turns. Paired with Lanasa for her strong versus troll typing, as well as being able to hit the field with Mass Weaken. We'll be using our Myth Cleaver in this first example, not built perfect by any means, but useful to be able to stun if we need it. Now, as you can see here, I have 3 of my mythic pieces attuned to troll, so we'll be receiving 30% damage reduction there. And I'm also using a legendary acid damage reduction charm on my chest, giving us 32% damage reduction from acid. Lastly, another important charm to note is the 60% boosted chances of weaken landing. Due to the fact that we're slightly underleveled for this fight, it's just nice to guarantee the mass weaken lands. And we'll be using the Maniacal Gauntlet in this first example for boosted axe damage as well as hunter speed, and it's not the preferred gauntlet over the Logicians by any means, but it is slightly more useful against these enemies due to the fact that they can hit you with a stack of acid anytime you make contact. There's not many instances I get to use the Maniacal, so I wanted to take the opportunity here today. Now, starting things off, we use our weapon to get Fury on chain start and proceed to start punching the first raider. Now, the ability for them to hit you with acid when you make contact seems to be RNG, so there's no guarantee for a faster charge with the Maniacal. Even only at level 62, the trolls are hitting us pretty hard. We box again, get hit with a stack of acid from the troll. This boosts our rage nicely, so we protect and cleanse with Tristan and box again for full rage. Launching Lanasa's quills on the field to deal a good chunk of damage and weaken our enemies. Now we're in a state of 35% defense from Protect, 30% from our mythic gear, and 35% from a weakened field, giving us 100% damage nullification from troll type. My main focus at this point was to be balancing the stacks of acid on my knight. Even at 2 stacks at this point, with 32% reduced damage, it was still hitting us for 148k damage. Seeing how low the remaining trolls were in this room, I used my weapon to pull myself into the next room and avoid the heavy acid tick. Now, room 2s are always a bit more comfortable in my opinion. Coming into the room with full rage and both of our hero powers, we cleanse with Tristan to start to get rid of any remaining acid, use Lanasa's rage for mass weaken as well as her scatter shot to pepper the back row afterwards with a good amount of damage. Now, with the field weakened, our only concerns are acid and stun, so I decide to give the Hulk a taste of his own powers with my weapon, and stun him in place to prevent a charge. Another heal from Tristan and a scatter shot from Lanasa isolates our main target. And with a few more boxes, we take the opportunity to jump to full rage. Teeing off with our weapon for the final 4 actions, we're jumping into round 3. Now, coming into round 3 with full rage and both our hero powers, we start things off with Lanasa's quills for that full field weaken, and then afterwards we pepper the back row with her scatter shot, Tristan's base for cleanse and protect, and a box to finish things off. Now, while using the Maniacal alongside the 100% damage reduction from trolls, I don't mind if the raiders here want to hit me with their powers. Applying acid on my knight right now is only going to build my rage, and with a cleanse in the back pocket, I can make sure I use it before I get ticked too heavily from the acid. Bouncing back for my turn, you can see I'm sitting at full rage and I didn't take any damage from the powers themselves due to the weaken, protect, and mythic gear attuned. We hit the field with more from Lanasa and clean up nicely, and with only the Hulk left, we know we have this round. Another box and a cleanse from Tristan puts us in a nice comfortable spot. And with a few swings, we wrap up round 3. Now, although the Maniacal Gauntlet was usable in the last example, it's still by no means my go-to gauntlet. Logician's has a special place in the hearts of hunters, and that's definitely to be noted. We have some golems alongside the Brinehide trolls in this next example. Hopping into my knight and popping on my Logician's gauntlet quickly here, we take a quick peek at the enemy's numbers and jump on in. Now, knowing that the Brinehide can apply acid on contact, you can see that we manage our damage in a way to control the field while avoiding contact as much as we can with the Hulk until we need to. A box here, Lanasa's scatter shot to deal a good chunk of damage, Tristan's base to give us protect, and a final slice takes out both of the golems on his side. Now that we have him isolated, you can see that we utilize our stun quite a bit to ensure that we just lock him in place when we need to. Make sure we get our knight to full rage before bouncing into round 2. Going into the round with full rage and starting off with Lanasa's porcupine quills. Get a good bit of weaken out on the field, and we actually take out the raider that was in the front row there. Now don't underestimate Tristan. Strong versus Golem. We end up using Tristan's rage there for a little smack on the Golem enemies. A few more boxes here to build rage and pull ourselves into round 3. Now we have a lot more of the Brinehide in this floor. We're going to start things off with a scatter shot, a box for full rage, and porcupine quills again, just getting that big damage out on the Brinehide as quickly as possible. Tristan's base again gives us the cleanse, 3 turns of protect, builds our rage nicely. Tossing it out again. You can see this method is just much faster than the Maniacal Gauntlet. Logician's is definitely still where it's at. Now, there is a ton of different methods to take on the Brinehide. Lanasa is just one route that I'm using. I've noticed warriors have a cool setup with Krita and Ermis both being strong versus troll and unique heroes. Though there might not be a cleanse with this method, you can kind of just out-heal any damage that you end up taking with Ermis's rage. We have some militia enemies alongside the Brinehide here, so again, we'll be managing our contact with them as closely as possible. In this example, we're using a Valiant Gauntlet for warrior speed and hammer damage. Popping Krita's base power there, we jump to full rage. And you can see with Queen's Command, we deal a huge chunk of damage to the enemies here. Keep in mind, all of the heroes and weapons and all of my gear and stuff in these examples is still only at level 60. I'm being very careful with how I'm going to be upgrading my gear, and I want to see how long I can actually stay at level 60 with just side builds and my main gear and that, and just see how long I can get in game before I really have to start cranking some upgrades into my stuff. You can see with Queen's Command, we just absolutely smash the entire field with damage. Our hammer is able to wrap up the Hulk relatively quickly. Jumping into round 3. We've lost a bit of health right now, so we're going to use Ermis's rage here, and you can see we heal up for almost, I think that was 320k. Huge heals, just put you right back up to full health. Even with the acid tick afterwards, you don't really have to stress too much. I don't know if I would use this method in a room full of Brinehide trolls, but it's definitely still viable, and I just wanted to showcase at the end of this Citadel that even with a side build, we were able to take it out. Now, once you complete this Citadel, you're actually going to be getting your first 8 drops of Serenity, which is absolutely huge. You're going to be able to take one of your level 60 heroes to level 60 level 65 with this. Now taking a peek at Yaneth Dagonspawn. He's another one of the Brinehide troll enemies. He looks like he is the roaming monster of their class. Now, for this here, we had some really ridiculous requirements against the boss, and to be honest, I don't know if they were necessarily worth it. One of the big things that I've noticed with Atlantica rewards from roaming monsters is that they're not all that different from Karnheim, and they cost a lot more stamina. The roaming monsters in Karnheim are about 160 stamina, whereas the roaming monsters here are 200 stamina. Rewards are relatively the same too, so I'm hoping that Madoki takes a closer look at the rewards pool for these roaming monsters and maybe adjusts it accordingly, because this was an absolute slog fest here. I had to use I had haste potions and recovery potions here, and I literally have to use every bit of it. I had to play this fight like perfectly in order to get past it and complete all of the objectives as well. And like, I don't know, just considering from like a younger knight's perspective, I feel like a lot of people are really going to struggle with these challenges. Like, the Dark Gauntlet is just not ideal. I don't know. Hopefully they take a look at things. Now we're using McLeod's Folk Cleaver here. Does a huge amount of damage. We're just trying to do as much damage as possible. I really wanted to take out that back row enemy with his rage actually, and we didn't end up taking him out. So we use our second haste pot there just so that we can stun Yaneth, I believe his name is, in place. They got our health right down low there, so we had to use a recovery pot. Acid taken away on us, huge. Now we're in a position where we can just stun him into submission. Acid still has a chance to take away on us heavily though, so we gotta be careful. But yeah, we took him out. And although we completed all the tasks here, you can see we get 1 torch. Yeah, definitely gotta have a look at that. There is a challenge right now though to complete him. If you complete him, you're gonna end up getting 6 drops of Serenity and 40 Dark Tomes. Definitely coming in huge right now with the update, and all of us wanting to upgrade all of our heroes to the next level. Just want to give a big thank you to all of the knights who tuned into the Know Your Enemy Brinehide video today. Really appreciate it. Having a lot of fun taking a peek into Atlantica, and there's definitely going to be more content to come on the new region. Again, thank you knights for tuning in, and as always, stay grinding.